There are so many people out there who want to volunteer and find a way in which they can help.
We've got some brilliant people that have come out of the school system here in Attleboro.
You actually perform as an elected official the way people should.
There are no agendas. Nobody has any projects that they have to complete, but we're just sharing information.
Welcome to People It's Good to Know. I'm your host, John Davis. And today, we're very fortunate to have with us my good friend, Heather Porreca. I should say, former city councilor, Heather Porreca, and now the president of the Hebron Food Pantry.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us,
It is
Heather.
such a pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
It's always great to have people on the show who have been actively involved in so many great endeavors in life. Why don't you just share with people some of your background, where you came from, and how you got to where you are today?
Well, so I was born in Norwood. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I was born in Norwood. Eddie and I moved down here about 25 years ago and raised a family. We have 3 adult children, Hadley, Eddie, and Maggie. They're doing great. And we helped revitalize the Attleboro Farmers Market. And that led into me running for city council. I was on city council for 6 years. I was the vice president for my last term. And then COVID and all sorts of other things happened. Yeah. And I've always had a relationship with the Hebron Food Pantry, which started back at Farmers Market. We would have them come in, we would raise some money, we would do the pumpkins and corn stalks to kind of help fill the pantry before the holidays. And when COVID hit, I really kind of needed a place to channel my energies. So I started volunteering there, 3 or 4 times a week. And eventually I was at the former director, Michelle Birch, asked if I wanted to be on the board, and I've been there ever since. So it's about 3 years that I've been on the board, and I was elected to president last year.
That's amazing. Now you quickly skirted over a lot of things that for most people would be a career in themselves. Yeah. I mean, you were essentially the person who reactivated the local farmers market. You took it from being next to nothing to what we see today. You want to tell us a little bit about that whole experience?
Sure. There was a whole collaboration of people. We had a fantastic board of directors. Former city councilor Richard Conti and his wife were a part of it in the very beginning. And we kind of all got together and said, this is something that Attleboro really, really needs. And we just worked real hard. And I retired a couple of years back, so I completed 11 years. Wow. We won #1 farmers market in our region multiple times. It was a lot of fun. And the Attleboro community gets to enjoy this beautiful farmers market. My kids, that was kind of where they grew up. And it's fun to see how that had an impact on them. And, they're very, very go-getter kids, always hustling, always had jobs. That slung a lot of Dell's lemonade back in the day. So that was terrific. And then again, I ran for council, and that was a lot. It was a lot. I ran unsuccessfully for mayor, which was absolutely a blessing for me personally. There's a lot of things happening, with my parents getting older and things like that needed my attention at that time, which landed me here now in all of the whole arc of my career, whether it's being a mom or farmers market or being on the council. It has brought me to where I am today, and it is the most challenging and the most rewarding position I've ever had. So I love being at the pantry. It's great.
That's fantastic. And everything in life happens for a reason, and we learn from every experience we had. I'm sure your 6 years as a counselor must have taught you a lot about dealing with people in our community and learning a lot about the community itself.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And those are some of the skills that I bring with me to the pantry. Right. So if we needed a van. And so I talked to Senator Paul Feeney. He was like, hang on, let me see what I can do for you. And we got a grant from the state to purchase a new van and things like that. And it was having access to people who can help the pantry. That is kind of what I learned. And also, we host citywide food drives, and it's Jim Hawkins and Feeney and Jay DeLisio and Todd Kobus and Scott Domenici and all of these elected officials. They really come in hard and really support what we're doing. I mean, we're all friends, but they also, at their heart, have the city of Attleboro at their heart, and they want to help everybody. And so they've been tremendous. And having these relationships has only benefited the pantry in such a positive way.
Absolutely.
So it's been great.
Well, it's the power of networking. You know, when you know a whole bunch of people and they know a whole bunch of people, collaboratively, it's amazing the power that you have.
Yeah, relationships and partnerships are so important. Creating a good working, learning respect for myself, giving respect to other people, having that kind of collaboration. It really, when people come together, they really can do some amazing things.
And one of the things that I've found that's interesting to me is that in a lot of communities, the people who are actively involved are all the townies who have been there for 3 generations. But in Attleboro, we have a lot of super active people who moved here.
Yes.
You know, they weren't necessarily born here. Sometimes they moved here even later in life, but they've gotten super actively involved. And I think that brings a special dynamic to Attleboro.
I agree. That was one of the things for my family. So, like, my kids are townies. They will be townies.
Right, they were born
right?
here, yeah.
We were not. But I remember when I moved here, little Eddie was just born. So he's 23 now. And I was looking for a place to give some attention to. And so, it started off at St. John's. I was volunteering over there, teaching CCD and doing things like that. And
I think that's where I first met you.
Yeah, I think so too. And he played Santa at the bazaars and things like that. And it's getting involved in your community. It really grounds you. It gives you a purpose every day. And you learn a lot. And so that's just... That's what we do. We just roll up our sleeves and go to work.
Well, you hit on another key point is everybody has to have a purpose every day, something that motivates them to really get out there and work hard. And you've certainly been someone over the course of your lifetime who's found one purpose after another to always be actively involved. You want to share with people a little bit about the background about the food pantry and where it came from and how it's evolved?
Sure. Actually, this is our 25th year. We were established in 1999 down in Hebronville in a church. It was the vision of some of the parishioners there. We outgrew that space. We are currently located in the basement of the Centenary Church. On Sanford Street, across the street from the YMCA parking lot. We have distribution 4 times a week, so we have a senior-specific distribution. Well, actually, let me go back a little bit. So it used to be the working person's pantry and senior distribution. Since COVID, we've taken, and you would have to show like either an unemployment stub or a pay stub to be able to shop. We've removed those boundaries at the pantry, especially after COVID. Everybody needs help. We have a huge population of working poor. About a third of our community here in Attleboro struggles with food poverty. So we needed to kind of make things easier for people to just simply have the human right of accessing food. So we're open Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to noon for our senior distribution, Wednesdays from 4 to 6, Thursdays from 4 to 7 for general distribution. And if you need to sign up or need assistance, you can just go to our website, which is HebronFoodPantry.org, and under the shopping tab, and has all that information there. We also have shopping by appointment on Fridays for individuals who have physical disabilities, transportation issues, or childcare barriers.
And that in and of itself is amazing, because that opens it up to a whole array of people who otherwise would have just been lost in the shuffle.
Right. It's been what we've noticed. So in my tenure, my 3 years there, we've doubled our population. So currently we're a shop by choice. So you can come in, you get a little shopping cart with a box on it, and you can pick and choose the food that you like instead of us just handing you a bag, which might have things in it that you don't like.
Right.
We also try to make selections that are culturally appropriate. So the diverse population of our clients, they can all come in and find something that they like. So it's just, it's really super helpful, I think, to our community. It's just, it's heartbreaking every day to do the work that we do and to hear the stories of some of our families.
Yeah, you see it right in front of you.
Every day. But every night I go home and I say a prayer, and I'm grateful for the fact that I get to do this work, and we feed.
Right.
So we have about 400 shoppers every single week, which translates into feeding 800 adults, 500 children, and 275 seniors every single week. We serve Attleboro, North Attleboro, Plainville, Norton, Seekonk, Rehoboth, and Mansfield. So if you live in any of those communities, you can come and visit the pantry, and you get to go home with some food.
It's absolutely amazing. and as you referenced, how many people there are in the community that actually do have challenges, having healthy food every day. I mean, people like you and I are pretty lucky. We might complain about a lot of things in life, but none of us are going hungry.
Right.
Yet in our community, there are a tremendous number of people who are only a few days away from completely running out of food.
Agreed. So one of the other jobs that I used to have was I was a school bus driver, and I remember being on the bus, and I drove a minibus, and the behaviors of certain students would start to escalate the closer it got to school vacation week or summer, because they get 2 meals, they get breakfast and lunch, and once you're on vacation, you have no idea where your food's coming from.
Right.
And that always stuck with me. And so we just launched a new collaboration with Attleboro High School. So we just had April vacation, and they identified several families that were in need of support. So we made sure that we had bags of food to send home or were delivered to their houses, so that they were taken care of over break.
So you're not just helping people that come knocking at your door. You're proactive. You're actually seeking out people that you can help. I mean, I think that's a great enhancement or advancement in food pantries. For a long time I was involved with the St. Joe's Food Pantry, and it was primarily people from the east side who lived within walking distance of the church. But from that to what you guys run today is like light years in advancement.
We're hoping at some point in the future to offer like a delivery service. So we have a lot of seniors who don't have the ability to get out. They can't drive anymore, they have physical limitations or things like that. So we're always trying to figure out different ways. We actually collaborate right now with the Attleboro Senior Center, and Amigo. And they come, Amigo comes, picks up boxes of food, and I give them a list of addresses, and they go out and drop food off to seniors every other week. So we're trying. We're really trying to make sure that people have enough to eat, and to actively work to remove the stigma of asking for help. There were times, I was very young, with having the kids and living here, and Eddie worked at Bill Ricker, and he was gone 80 hours a week and whatever. And there were times when, I had 3 kids in diapers and 2 on formula. Like, I could have used the food pantry. I didn't know it existed. And quite honestly, I don't think that my pride would have allowed me to do that either. And I think about that often. And so when I see moms coming in and they're looking for help, I'm like, come on in. Do you need diapers?
Because
we have formula.
Because
I know how hard it is. And to simply ask for help is one of the hardest things to do, whether it's asking for food or anything else that you need help with. We're just, my board of directors, my executive director, we're working very hard to kind of remove any of that stigma or embarrassment or shame that some people feel that they can't afford to feed themselves. And we flip the script on it a bit, and we're like, okay, so you come to us, we give you food, now you can buy your medicine.
Exactly.
Now you can, heat your home or keep your lights on or get an extra tank of gas to get you back and forth to work. It is a Food is a fundamental right. It is the crux. We have great relationships with the Attleboro Police and Attleboro Fire, and we had an issue with a freezer dying back in November, and they came right out and were so supportive to us, because crime happens when you're hungry. Like, you can't operate as you can't regulate your emotions if you're starving. That's why there's the word hangry.
No, it's funny if you think about it. Being hungry really does make everything else more difficult.
Correct.
And again, sometimes the people who most need the services who least are willing to come and ask.
Right.
That's it's funny. In all my years being involved in all these different nonprofits and charities, it's the same thing you see over and over again. There's a small number of people that'll ask for anything, but then there's people who are really desperate but won't step up.
What's wonderful is that we have about 125 volunteers.
I was going to ask you about
rotating
that.
volunteers, and they're out there. I got a grant. We bought them all sweatshirts. They're these bright Kelly green sweatshirts, and they're out there and they're talking about Hebron Food Pantry. People are asking them about it, really kind of getting the word out and. Just come in. I'm there Tuesdays from
Check
12. Come on in. I'll give you a tour. That's fine. And we just try to work with anyone who needs a little bit of help. And when people come in for the first time, so we're in like limited space, and you have to kind of wind around while you're doing your shopping, and you pop out the other end, and I'm usually there, and they're like, I cannot believe the variety of things that you have here.
It is impressive.
It is. Yeah. So we get about 8,500 pounds a week from the Greater Boston Food Bank. Every dollar donated to us buys about $20 worth of food at the Greater Boston Food Bank, which is fantastic. But we also have our volunteers out there in droves picking up from Shaw's, Stop and Shop, BJ's, right. Big Y, all over the place. Right. And we give out approximately 16,000 pounds of food each week.
Amazing. It was one of the things that I experienced in the past was I used to pick up food from like Stop and Shop and that for food. It is amazing how much stuff is donated from most of these supermarkets. Things don't go to waste so much anymore.
No.
It all gets funneled to some useful source.
It's super helpful, and it prevents, food waste is horrible. Yeah. And it costs everybody.
Right, it's not good for anybody.
It's not good for anybody. So to partner with the Greater Boston Food Bank and have them be like, yep, we'll get you a new account over in North Attleboro. Thank you very much. We find a volunteer. Our volunteers are incredibly dedicated, and they're very strong.
Yeah.
Because they're out
Heavy.
there picking up banana boxes and all of that. And but that's what helps us do what we do. Like, we would be nothing without our volunteers. We wouldn't be able to serve 800 adults, 500 children, and 275 seniors.
Now, again, as the demand continues to grow, has there been like long-term planning towards like developing your own building, your own?
Yes, we talk about that. Was part of the reason why the board brought me on, is to kind of Michelle Birch. Bless her heart, she was the director for 16 years, and she retired because she wanted someone to come in and kind of push it on to the next level. Yep. So we work regularly. I may have an announcement soon, but I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Or
it's
anything.
okay.
I'm wondering, so I'm thinking people out there are wondering.
Yeah, so I believe we'll be launching a capital campaign within the next few months so that we can kind of expand our services. We're hoping to be able to be open for distribution more regularly, and as opposed to the 7 hours a week, hopefully get it to 20, so then there's not long waiting lines, and we just kind of become the free grocery store in Attleboro. So.
Because I imagine at certain times of the year, like with the weather and stuff, it's got to be really, really challenging to have people waiting in line in a snowstorm.
Yeah, it's very challenging. The church has been phenomenal in helping us with that. So when it's really inclement weather, typically we can bring them into the pantry while they're waiting. There's different areas of the church so that they can sit in. But sometimes it's impossible. They may have events or things like that happening at the same time. So having a place where, one, we can expand our services, and two, be able to provide more opportunities for people to come and shop. It'll prevent that line around the corner. I hear all the time, I was driving, I was going to the library and I was wondering what that big line around the corner was. Yeah. Well, that's us. Those are our clients waiting. So hopefully in the future we'll be able to get that squared away, but we are actively, we've updated, our mission statements and our goals, and we've been working towards getting to the point where we're able to kind of expand and have our own space. So then in perpetuity, people here in Attleboro, we can talk about hunger going away, but the reality of it is it probably isn't. Right. And we need to provide security, not only for the pantry itself, but for the clients that we serve.
Because the harsh reality is, we all know it's probably only going to grow over the next few years. There's just no, we can be as optimistic as we want, but the reality is the number of people around here who are going to be in need is going to continue to grow.
I couldn't agree with you more.
What's astounding to me is, that you got 125 volunteers. With all the things that people can volunteer to do in Attleboro, that one organization has got that many probably speaks well to how well it's run, and because people get involved in things that are not only a good cause, but where they feel like they're actually being productive. People don't want to just stand around. So you make good use of all your volunteers.
Oh, I am amazed at what my volunteers are willing to do. They're just, what else do you need, Heather? Do you need me to go here? Do you need me to go to the store? Do you need me to build a shelf for you, Heather? They're unbelievably generous with their time because they truly believe in what our mission is and what we do to help people. All you have to do is help one person shop.
Yep.
To have it actually have a huge impact on your life.
Yeah.
It really just, it's
does. An eye-opening experience for a lot. Again, there are a lot of people like you and I who it's something that we don't think about. And so if someone volunteers who's never had to think about that and then encounters a person who has gone hungry, it really does change the way they see things.
It really does.
Have you collaborated with getting volunteers from the high school and younger kids so that they...
All the time. Yeah. So the National Honor Society requires about 20 hours of volunteer service. Some of our volunteers, I'm going to give one of them specifically, Casper. He's awesome. He volunteers all the time, helps us with our Spanish-speaking clients. And he's probably volunteered over 1,000 hours. And so we work with, St. John's comes in, some of the middle school kids come in, Bishop Fian comes in, Attleboro High, North Attleboro. They come in, they help out, and they learn.
Right.
The biggest thing, because for many of these kids, it's interesting. So for a lot of these kids, they've never been to a food pantry. They don't even know what it is. And then they're here and they're seeing these hordes of people coming in and shopping. And it's really eye-opening to them. I've had a lot of moms call me back afterwards saying, that was really impactful. My child, who has the cell phone and the, Jordans and whatever, came home and was like, Mom, there was this little baby there today that they were there because they need help. And so, there's a lot that goes on at the pantry, and those collaborations are some of my favorites. And so sometimes they come and do their 20 hours and we don't see them again. Sometimes they come back and they're just there to help because it really did impact their heart.
And I think even the ones that don't come back, it's had a positive impact on them in the long run. That's great. So, how else do you go about recruiting volunteers? Do you have?
Well, I actually just put a Facebook up before I got here. We have an onboarding system. We're struggling a little bit. We have a lot of Creole speakers, Portuguese, Spanish. So we're always looking for bilingual volunteers who can help us with the onboarding system. It's very simple. It's just name, address, the names of the people who live in your house. And you can go, again, to our website under the volunteer tab. All that information is right there. If you can volunteer an hour a week, an hour a month, an hour a year, whatever, we're happy to have you.
That's great. That's great. And how people who want to make donations, you want to share with people how they would contact you for donations?
Sure. We're on all socials, Facebook and Instagram, of course. We are open Monday through Friday from 9 to 1 for donations and volunteer opportunities. If you're a good shelf stalker, we got a job for you. And if that time doesn't work, just shoot us a message, give us a call, and we can make arrangements to meet up with you for donations. We also have PayPal. If you go to any of our socials, our little QR code is right there. So as I said earlier, for every $1 donated, it gives us about $20 worth of buying power at the Greater Boston Food Bank, which is enormous. That's huge. And again, we order about 8,500 pounds of food every single week from there. And if you're looking for a place to really have it be incredibly impactful, send it our way, because we whatever you give, we 20 times it.
That's fantastic. And also, one of the things I know you also do is that when you have people come in who need food, sometimes they also need other services, and you try to direct them it's part of having a big network of people is you can direct them in the right path for the other services they may need.
So many of the organizations, Attleboro Area Interfaith Collaborative, the Literacy Center, Soup for Heat, all of those organizations, we all work together. to try and provide those wraparound services for some people just really fall on some hard times. And the hardest part is knowing where to go for that help. We work with New Hope as well. We have a lot of that, unfortunately, a lot of domestic situations. And so, you know, if you come to my office, I'm going to hand you a couple of phone numbers. St. Vincent de Paul is phenomenal. They have a website that has every possible phone number and link you could possibly imagine. You know, homelessness is a real problem here in Attleboro, and it's getting harder and harder and harder. There are a few places, there are literally like no places for people to go.
And the sad part is people don't see that. But some of us who are involved know how many people there are out there who, you know, they live in the shadows. We just, you know, they stay out of the limelight, but they're out there. I want to say living, they're existing, basically.
Pam Turlo from Food and Friends, like she knows everybody by name. We work collaboratively together all the time so that she has enough, like she might be making hot dogs one day. She's like, do you have any buns? We have extra buns. So we do all those kinds of things to kind of cover all the bases as best we can. But we're all getting a little thin, you know, on being able to do that.
Well, it's astounding to me over the years to see how all these collaborations have made things so much better. You know, I mean, 20 plus years ago, I was the president of Self-Help. And in those days, there wasn't that whole network of collaboration. You know, you had one group providing service A and another group providing service B, but there wasn't much cross-checking of clients to see if they needed additional services. And so I'm very impressed by what you and some of the other people who run local agencies today, I want to say the quality of volunteers or the professionalism of volunteers and organizers today is so much better than it was a generation ago. It's really impressive.
I agree. And I love my cell phone. It's like, oh, you need that? Hold on. We're all in contact with each other all the time. We have surplus. We send it over to St. Joe's or St. Teresa's. You know, we do all the, you know, we all work together as best that we can.
And it is amazing. You said technology has really made it so that the ability to, you know, instantaneously get information and share information is amazing. Well, first, I'd like to thank you for all the stuff you've done for the community over the years. I wish we had more time to really go into a lot of the stuff I know that you've done other than just the food pantry. But thank you so much, Heather, for being here with us today and sharing with the community about what you're doing. And I wish you a lot of luck with your ventures in the future.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank all of you out there for tuning in and encourage you all to volunteer and participate in any way you can in the whole array of organizations and services that we have here in our community. There are so many people out there who want to volunteer and find a way in which they can help.
We've got some brilliant people that have come out of the school system here in Attleboro.
You actually perform as an elected official the way people should.
There are no agendas. Nobody has any projects that they have to complete, but we're just sharing information